What is up, party people? Hey, it's Kiana, and we are at part three of this series talking about the best diet. Part one, we talked about what the best diet is. We talked about defining what you want and defining your win. I think that's probably the most important part. If you haven't seen that part of the series, then this part will make sense, but it will have less impact because you, you will not have any purpose. You won't have a goal, right? And so the number one reason I see people fail is because they don't really have a purpose for doing this besides they want to look good naked. And that's fine. I mean, I want to look good naked. You want to look good naked. I want to, like everyone wants to look good naked. However, the deeper roots of understanding why you do what you do, you need to have that base covered so that when you run into motivational issues or problems or whatever, you have something to fall back upon, right? Uh, if you don't have that, then the likelihood of you failing and falling down flat on your face and going right back to where you started is significantly higher than if you have something that is more deep rooted. So, for example, just as a quick aside, one of my students, when we first sat down, I was like, why do you want to, get fit? And she's like, well, I want to look good naked, effectively. I was like, well, why? That's kind of bullshit. Tell me more. And she's like, well, I want to be able to wear this specific pair of jeans. Like, okay, well, why? And we talked for a minute, and she's like, well, ultimately, my mom was never able to wear her jeans. She always had to wear sweatpants, and I don't want to be like my mom. Well, tell me about that. And we get into this longer conversation, and effectively, it came down to the fact that her mom was never able to get down on the ground and play with her as a kid, and she wanted to be the kind of mom who was able to do that. Much much deeper and much more impactful than I just want to not be fat, right? So dig a little bit. In the second episode of the program, we talked about the best kinds of diets. So we talked about pop culture diets, paleo, keto, vegan, clean eating, macros, and all of that. Today we're going to talk about this idea of emotion meeting science. Now, tomorrow I'm posting up a video of my buddy Justin breaking down the science side of things. And I posted one up today of him. And the science side of things is it's science, right? You cannot refute it. You cannot break it. The only reason that there is confusion, like this is it. The only reason that there is confusion is that there are idiots out there. There's people who are trying to sell you bullshit, and they want you to buy whatever they're selling, and so they create confusion in the market. And so that's why we still have conversations about paleo. We still have conversations about keto. We still have these like questions like, who do I trust? And I don't blame you. This is not a reflection upon you. It's a reflection upon us as an industry. We screw this up for you. It's like kind of like going to the bank and like saying, well, what kind of deposit, like having like all these bankers tell you that about different like places to put your money. Like, well, the true secret to making more money is to plant it in the ground. It's going to grow. It's like, no, that's not how money works. You put it in an investment, and that investment goes out to create more value, and then that value returns back to you. That's how money works, right? So the science behind losing weight is relatively simple. If this is where you need, like this is your maintenance calories. If you eat more, you gain weight. If you eat less, you lose weight. Like for 99% of the people in the world, that is how things go. And no, it is not. You are not the 1%. You are not the 1%. Like I will tell you that over and over and over again. Like it is not you. Like you are the 99%. I promise you that. You, my friend, you just need to eat fewer calories on a consistent basis for a long period of time, and magically you will lose weight. So we'll talk more about that later, but that's the science of things. The emotions. Now, this is where things get a little tricky, and especially now that we are headed into this holiday season where everyone says, oh my gosh, it's so hard to lose weight. It's not. There are 5 events. Halloween, which I mean, it's crappy candy. Like, seriously, you're going to give yourself that excuse? I guess it might be the booze, walking around like with your spiced whiskeys as you take your kids trick or treating. So there's Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, New Year's Eve. And you can always sub out Christmas Eve and Christmas Day for whatever holidays you choose to celebrate. However, like there are those are the 5 holidays. Now, you of course are going to mix in like, hey, work party, friends party, all these different things in there. So you do need to prioritize. So there are a couple of things that will happen during the holidays that will pop up, and I'll walk you through them. One is the I wants. Two is the they wants. Three is the I shoulds. Four is, well, it's the season. And then five, what's a five? Yeah, one, two, three, four. Yeah, five. Now, five, I'm going to get a little PG-13 on this one. It's called the fuck it's, right? You just get them. And you're just like, screw it. I don't want to do this. So, one, the I wants. Now, this is probably the one that's the most important. I want this. I want this, right? So, say there is my mom's pecan pie. It is the famed pie at Thanksgiving, and I just want it. Like, yeah, I want that, right? So, you have to weigh this. Is this want greater than my win, right? So, we talked about winning at the beginning of the video. If your want is greater than your win, then go for it, right? If you understand that if you eat that, you are going to be over calories and you're going to not lose weight at the rate you want, that's okay as long as you accept that fact. Or you can program that into your macros. If you don't know what that means, don't worry about it. So the I wants, right? If your I wants win consistently enough, then that is where you're going to be over the calories almost 90% of the time. Like you can't just live by your desires and say, "Oh, I want that." I want that. I had a friend in college who she went on the delicious diet, and her theory was if I only eat things that are truly delicious to me, then I will eat less of it and I will not gain weight. Unfortunately, that did not work out for her because she just went by her wants, right? So you cannot live by want alone. So that's the hardest one. So the solution for that one is to develop a large win, right? So that win and that willingness beats everything else out. The second one is they wants. Now, this is when, say, you go over to someone's house and they want you to try their specialty cheesecake or whatever the hell it is, right? And you feel the social pressure of them pushing this upon you. So, this is expectation management, right? And so, one thing you can do is first you have to get rid of your expectations, right? Like my expectation is that like it's my expectation. And so you have to work through that in your own brain and say, you know what? I expect to lose weight. My expectations of going out to my friend's house is that my meal will support my diet, right? Will support my weight loss. Then you have to look at everyone else's expectation and just forget about them. You cannot control anything that your friends have. So like in their brains, like your friends like have these wild expectations of you. You can't control that. They have them. And so a couple of easy phrases like, "Oh, thank you so much. I'm losing 20 pounds in the next 6 weeks. Thanks for your support on this." Adding that little last phrase. So a couple things with that. One, I put it in the I am losing, right? I'm not trying to lose. Take trying out of your vocabulary. I am losing X amount of weight or whatever by X date. Thank you for your support, right? So put it in the present tense, put an end on it, and thank them for their support. Because if you do those things, they can't say, "Oh, well, you should just try it," because then they're not supporting you, right? So then they're being bad friends, which no one wants to be a bad friend. And if they are being a bad friend, get them out of your life because they're bullshit. They don't love you. You should really only have people who are friends who love you. The other way you can phrase this is you can say, "Oh no, sorry, I don't eat dessert on Tuesdays," or whatever the day it is. Or you can say, "Sorry, I'm allergic to whatever the food is." Those are easy cop out ones, so that you can get around it. Now the I shoulds, right? Now this is a variation of the I want and the they want. This is like the imposed pressure. Like, guess I should eat that so I don't offend anyone, right? Wrong, people. Very wrong. You should never eat something just because you should eat it, right? Like, oh, I guess I should have this to not offend people. Like, I'm all for like accepting cultural foods and doing all that. You should like you should like try new foods and you should expand yourself. But if you're eating something just because someone expects you to eat it, like I should eat it, like move on. Like no one's expressed that they want you to eat it and you don't actually want to eat it, like, so it's just like this third tertiary pressure. So again, it goes back to eliminating expectations. The fourth one is like, "Oh, it's the season, I'm only gonna get this once this year, right? It's gonna oh, I really need this, like, oh, or I'm depriving myself." Like, again, a variation of I want, pumpkin spice lattes. That's the thing. Everyone's basic about pumpkin spice lattes. You don't need them, right? They're going to make you fat, and you can buy the pumpkin spice syrup anytime, right? So you can go buy it now and save it and make it yourself for cheaper than Starbucks is selling it. Right? Like it's the season is terrible. Or like, oh, we only do turkey once a year. Hey, you know what? You can cook another turkey anytime during the year. And I mean, turkey's a bad example because it's relatively low in calories, and most people do fine on that. But it's again the pies or the this or the that. Like you can cook those things any time of the year. Or you know what? Like forego it this year, get not fat, and then like it's easier to have it next year because you've developed the fortitude to say no. So get rid of the it's the season stuff, because the season will come, the season will go. Like I'm all for having stuff that is once a year, but I'm also not for getting off of your diet because of it. The fifth thing. Now this is the hardest one. So we had talked about the I wants, they wants, the I shoulds, and it's the season. The last one, it's the fuck it's, right? The I just don't care, right? And so I was talking with one of our hybrid clients, our online clients, about this, and she got a hard case of it when she came back from vacation and visiting her grandson. And so, as we were talking through this, again, developing a purpose but beyond what the moment says, because motivation is a fickle mistress. She will come and she will go, and she will abandon you in the deepest, darkest moments when you need her most. So if you are fueled by motivation only, like you got to have strategy. And so develop the big I wills, right? The what is winning for me, so that and then develop strategies supporting that. So when you lose motivation, like the psychology, you can go to work on your psychology and keep your strategy moving you forward, right? So that when you get the motivation again, the hell yeah, I actually want to lose this, you've actually progressed as opposed to regressing and regaining the weight, right? Because the only thing that differentiates the successful, the unsuccessful, and the highly successful is the ability to be consistent in the hardest times. That's it, right? Like consistency, consistency, consistency. The famous saying, I think it's from Bruce Lee. He says, "Do not fear the man who's done 1,000 kicks one time. Fear the man who's done one kick 1,000 times." That's gonna make you far stronger. It's gonna make you far better, and it's gonna move you forward. That's the idea, guys. So have strategy surrounding things, right? So build up like, hey, when you are in high motivation, develop strategy for when you are in low motivation, right? So when I don't want to do things, like become the person that does this, right? So I've built up that strategy. Like say like, I just don't want to cook dinner tonight. Hey, I've already cooked for the week, so I can't waste the money, right? You see where this is going? You've developed the strategy so that when high motivation goes away, you have a strategy. So that is the emotional side. There's a lot more that goes into emotion, and a lot of it is like, hey, hitting it right at that spot, like when you go out to eat, when you're with friends, when you actually face these moments. It's about developing the fortitude and saying the what am I willing to tolerate and what am I not willing to tolerate, and defining those things for you. So again, take a look at what wins, what is a win for you in your life. Why do you want to lose fat? Why do you want to not be fat? Why do you want to go through this process? And once you have that, these emotional reasons become a lot easier. The next two videos, we're going to talk about progress, and we're going to talk about how you move forward with progress. And the final video of this 5-part video series is going to be about developing an actual plan for this whole thing. So I hope you found that insightful, or at least entertaining, or at least informative, or you liked it. If you liked it, pop in the comment section below and let me know. Okay, love you. Peace.